Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are, wherever you happen to be. Welcome to another edition of the Living World of Darkness, New York by Night. The scene is set within Leonardo's studios, where one Frank Green, after having regrown quite a bit of himself, quite a bit of himself had been previously barbecued. Quite a bit of himself had been previously all the way dead, not just halfway dead, just completely aggravated and dead. He has since regrown quite a lot of what he used to be. Took quite a long time, quite a lot of blood. Frank Green is not happy. Frank Green is not happy most of the days, or at least I should say nights he continues to exist for one reason or another. He is quite the curmudgeon at the moment, as he just goes ahead and stares across, looking at the tall, blue kindred before him. The setting, the general surrounding, happens to be, as I said, within Leonardo's fashion studio, particularly the workstation. Before them is a giant oak desk filled with all types of different fabrics and different designs for other dresses and suits and the like. And all around them happens to be a plethora of different fabrics as well as different finished products in dresses and suits and all the accoutrements that goes with it. As you see, just Frank Green looking over the table at the kindred that has invited herself over.
Rose is looking around, rather. She's feeling a bit awkward. I don't think she's actually been here before. So, yeah, she's studying all the clothes, and she's like, "Wow, I didn't know there was so many different options available in one store."
This is a fashion studio. This is where we go ahead and start to make the designs.
Mm, I see. Well, um, how are you?
Better.
Yeah.
Hmm? Yeah.
Okay.
A little
Well,
hungry.
uh, I brought something over if you like.
Oh, no, 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 no. I wouldn't impose on you like that.
Okay. You mind if I help myself?
Oh, of course, of course. And with that, Frank Green simply goes ahead and signals to an offhand ghoul to go ahead and fetch the 22nd. The 22nd happens to be a peppered bottle of Vitae, something with a little bit of spice and kick to it. Bitter, very bitter.
Hmm. Rose is actually from out of a purse that she has with her. She's actually gonna grab a bottle and put it on the table. Like I said, I could help myself. I was a little bit prepared. But,
Fair
well,
enough.
it would be very, very impolite to decline your offer, but please take this as a gift then.
All right. You can leave it with me at this table, and I'll take care of it.
So, no side effects anymore?
What do you mean, side effects?
Well, I see you got your limbs back, but that wasn't all that was destroyed now, was it?
Plenty of things were ruined.
I know. It was an interesting event, for as far as I've heard.
Were you there when the Archon decided to have my debriefing in front of everybody?
Well, I kind of organized that meeting. So yeah.
That's
Fair
probably
enough.
not the
Then
best
you
way to
heard
go.
everything that happened.
Hmm. Sorry, what did you say? And she's just
That
looking over to a different side.
that probably wasn't the best way to word that. Come
I
on,
know,
Rose.
I know. I'm sorry. It's awkward. Ah, crap. I don't really know how to do this. And she just stops as she realizes that this would probably look even worse.
Rose, what are we doing here? What are we trying to accomplish?
Um, well, I just wanted to make sure that you were okay, and there's something else, but I'm not quite sure how to say it, but I think you would like it.
So you're here to catch up with me to make sure that I am doing all right, as well as give me some somewhat good news. Well, I'm okay, as you can see. Frank Green goes ahead and exercises his full mobility as he goes ahead and waves his hands up, as he goes ahead and actually takes up from the seat and starts to stretch his legs a little bit, at which point he returns back to the table. As you can see, I'm perfectly okay and fine and walking at least.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, your body functions have fully returned.
Rose Gangrel are not without their pride. Please stop poking him.
Sorry, I am not very used in dealing with Gangrel.
Just tell him and I'll provide additional information that he'll know come from me.
I'm sorry, you're not very good at interacting with Gangrel. Is there something wrong with my particular clan?
No, there is not. I am not very
Experienced.
experienced in conversation with basically anyone. I mean, it's easy when it's like all polite. How are you doing? Do you want a drink? Please take a seat. Um, Look, I just need to tell you something, and I'm just gonna spill it.
You
Um,
might want to take a few seconds before you do so. Let me go ahead and try to run some things by you.
okay.
Why don't we just start with something small, something very, very simple? Tell me, what's going on in the city? What has happened? What has transpired since I've had to take an extended leave of absence?
To be quite honest, total panic, most of them, and nothing much. A long time, everybody was just sitting there, panicking, doing nothing. And then Mr. Silas decided that it was time for action, and I agreed. So we took action, and that led to both your release as well as some other things, like that meeting, like Mr. Silas in the end becoming prince, which I totally agree with.
I understand that. I was privy to such information only after the fact, but I understand. Tell me, names, people, movements. We've been trying to settle everybody within the Manhattan Island proper, and I would just like what you've heard. What are names? What are the important people? Who should I get in contact with when I eventually reclaim all my facilities?
Well, I would definitely advise you to get into contact with my other clanmates, Mr. Limey and Miss Ghost. Other than that, I have seen little to none of the Ventru. I have not met with any of them, and so far I've heard a few names, but that's about it. I know one of the Tremere has been reasonably active, Miss Sue, But once again, I've only seen her at the meeting, and I've not met her myself. And well, you probably know that I had to leave very early for that meeting, for the second part of the meeting. That's why I didn't get to meet any of the Ventrue. Also, Mr. Peck has been rather busy, and as you might know, has taken up Keeper of Elysium. Shut up!
He is, I'm afraid. He doesn't have any kind of a sense of a thick skin.
Don't worry. I'll keep an eye out, okay? As long as they don't give me like any positions or something.
It's all well and good, but I haven't said anything to contradict you. Please don't tell me to shut up.
See, this is going to be a lot more easy if you just come out and say it.
Yeah, I know, but he wanted to hear the other things first.
Well, just say this is going to be a lot easier if you explain your bit first.
Dr. Softly is still here.
There we
Kind
go.
of.
Do 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 do. Ooh, Mother Nature coming home, and it's getting us old, and it's getting us old, and it's getting us old. Right there, right there.
I expected something like
You
that.
see Frank Green go ahead and actually, you can't see it because he wears his sunglasses at night. His particular subtlety to obfuscate the fact of his particular gift or curse of the blood is he just goes ahead and actually lifts up his sunglasses and looks at you, and you can see that they're glowing quite big and quite bright and quite red, as you actually see Frank Green go ahead and dig one single protein call for one single finger. This is something you have not seen before, not by Frank, as he goes ahead and uses it and draws one long line through the fabric before him and simply says, Rose, please do not play with me.
Okay, let's start going through
This
things
is where
that
you come in.
Yes, well, he can't hear me, so you can translate.
I know, I'll translate.
The last time we went up against the Sausage King where he died, Frank summoned 2 ravens. That specific number. That'll be the first thing. We'll ease him with something he'll first. So I bet you should relay that. Then he'll say, when we were both on the first, one of the early times when Seneschal Voorhees was still there and Jan Petersen returned to the city, that is where Frank Green found out that Dr. Softly knew some Protean.
And she's just going to translate it word for word, because I'm not actually going to repeat all that.
And if he looks like he needs more convincing, I can continue.
Dr. Softly has obviously told you these things after the fact.
He's not convinced.
It's enough for you to keep your foster sire within your own heart and your own mind, but please don't drag him into this. I buried his memory some time ago while I was recovering.
Where is the mirror when Silas? Where is Silas when you need him? Right. Is there any way I can convince you? Because I think it would be best.
Tell me, what is the benefit for me accepting this reality? Accepting the fact that one of my coterie mates happens to still be following his foster child around.
Point out to... Ask him if he knows much about necromancy. Not that you're using it, but he clearly doesn't understand what's going on.
Fine. What do you know about necromancy? He wants to know.
I know that certain clans practice it quite heavily. I know that sometimes that you can contact the spirits of the dead from the other world. And in fact, I met a few of them on North Brother Island, I think.
So what is so difficult to believe? That occasionally a kindred sticks around a little while.
Translating.
Especially since Frank Green should know that that meeting we had was not something I would share lightly, even to my own child. Because he never actually told her about that until this moment. And he's still leaving out horribly large chunks of detail.
I know. And translating.
Excuse me for 1 second, Frank Green says as he looks at his phone that apparently coughed up for just a second and puts it back on just silent. Okay. So, apparently, for some reason, for some strange fluke of the blood, you have the ability to communicate with Dr. Softly.
Mm-hmm. You know he helped rescue you.
I was not aware of that.
Well,
What do you do?
He found you. We only followed him. First he found a fake you, and then he found a real you.
Fair enough. So, how is Dr. Softly doing as whatever form he may be?
Marginally well. Slight case of death.
Translating that. I'll just keep translating everything he says, okay?
And yourself.
Well, Dr. Softly, I'm doing a bit better. I mean, I can walk, I can talk, and he's actually just going to go ahead and look around him because he's starting to buy it just a little bit more. Where exactly are you? Is it okay there?
I'm here. I haven't moved on to any other places. I don't think I'd still be around here if I had moved to such an area. I'll be here for a while yet, I think.
You don't want to move on to anything? Is there anything to move on to?
I promised to help Rose, and although she's come a very long way, training's not 100% complete yet. Plus, these are dangerous times, and well, it's not exactly a conscious choice on my part, I don't think. But I have things to do.
So the only reason you're staying around is because we have any sort of gestures to the blue individual to look over?
Part of the reason. I think you'd help, although I think the city will be doing a lot better now that you're getting back in the mix.
Yeah. I've unfortunately spent much too much time back here simply recovering. There's so much work to do. So much information that still needs to be gathered, and so many new kindred that apparently have walked into the city.
Actually, I can give advice, but I would recommend not divulging anything of too high security. I wouldn't willingly give over this information. However, there are bloodlines within the Sabbat, the Nagaraja, as well as some Samadhi joined their ranks. Occasionally there have been less than half a dozen instances, but I think there have been some Giovanni even who've joined. And there are Serpents of Light who have non-normal necromantic abilities, and they could force information from me. So best to not let me hear anything too sensitive. I might not be able to control myself. Then again, you could say such a thing about Dominate as well.
Fair enough. You know, the old coterie. Do we still have some of those assets, some of those resources? I've been trying to retake some of that simply just so that the city has them again.
To be honest, a lot of them were tied up in the knowledge and skill set of Mr. Thursday, who I haven't heard from in some time, or heard about. I'm not sure if he's still in the city. Out of character, he's not in the city. It pretty much wasn't that much. It was he had some knowledge and influences. We gave him a couple of retainers.
Fair enough. I'll make pains to get back in touch with the pyramid then through Miss Sue. Actually, do either of you, he's talking to you as if you're two different people in a moment, do either of you understand what befell Miss Smith?
Ah, Ambrosia. Well, you might know more than I, Rose.
I thought I heard somewhere that she left the city.
Bitch.
All I know that at this point we have but one Toreador, and that's Mr. Peck.
Do we have a Toreador Primogen? Please do not tell me that Mr. Peck is the Primogen.
There is no Primogen of the Toreador at this point.
Finally, they listened to my advice, which I should have been giving sooner. There's no room for clans who don't have somebody of appropriate position and mindset.
A lot of clans don't have someone of an appropriate position.
Well, then they don't necessarily have a Primogen.
That doesn't mean that there shouldn't be someone in charge. The way things had been going before Mr. Silas became prince, it wasn't going well.
Too much. Well, that might be digressing a bit, but in my opinion, too much power was given to the Primogen Council, with the notion of that each clan has a Primogen. That is not clearly did not work in their favor. The reshuffle has, I think, better. If somebody's skill set regardless of clan.
That's why I actually formed that war council, or invited everyone to that. Whoever turned up showed that they were at least willing to try and change something in New York, which is a big plus in my eyes. And I did not necessarily mind that there were 3 Brujas but 1 Tremere and no Ventrue. It kind of showed.
I imagine the Ventrue working very hard on making sure the Toreador will be the scapegoats.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I'd do.
It's easy to point out someone's mistakes when they're actually trying to step up and to step out there.
No. If
All
Mr. Peck is
throughout
willing to
this,
help.
Frank Green is simply looking at both of you. Or at least the blue kindred before him. Staying relatively quiet. Because apparently he doesn't want to interrupt a very, very important conversation he can't listen to.
She's actually still trying to translate for you.
Alright, fair enough. Of the Ventrue, you say we don't know much. I had the opportunity to go ahead and visit with a newcomer as well as Jan Peterzoon again. Jan Peterzoon has apparently invited into the city one Lady Sheridan, if you didn't know.
I've heard a name. She has not yet met with me.
Fair enough. Of the Bruja, I know of Limely, I know of Ghost, I know of you.
That's it.
Of the Nosferatu, I know of Silas, I know of Goblin, I do not know of anything else.
For as far as I know, that's it.
The Gangrel I have in hand. The Toreador, apparently there is but one. He is of name Mr. Peck. The Pyramid, I will have to go and search and look for. I'll go ahead and contact Miss Sue
Other than
and
Thursday,
get an appropriate accounting of them.
Other than Mr. Thursday, who I've never met before, I have met Miss Sue, and I have heard through Ghost of a Spanish male, but I haven't met him. But that would
Fair
make
enough.
at least 3 of them.
Fair enough. Good to do. We have no independence, or at least no independents wishing to claim any sort of territory within our Isle quite yet.
Well, we do have an anarch, for as far as I've heard, who
Where
in the wreck, where he has been waiting for, as far as I know, until someone would allow him to have a meeting with the prince. And then the entire switch happened, and I'm not even sure if Mr. Silas is informed.
Out of character, Mr. Silas is the one who got the damn letter.
I don't know that!
I'm controlling that NPC. Even I'm not sure if the NPC's bothered to stick around. If they're not going to meet with you, they're going to kill me, so fuck this. Just walk away.
I'll go ahead and send some of my people out to the rack. Little clarification, out to Brooklyn. That place is no longer a rack, it's no longer free feeding, simply because we do not claim it anymore.
It's one of the best decisions I've ever heard. I could have thought it up myself. Actually, I did. But apparently I wasn't the only one. Because out of character, I did state this in character.
You see that Frank Green goes ahead and draws yet another line through the fabric. Yeah.
What, you disagree?
No. It just seems like you have a many ideas on how the city should be run, but I do not see any titles on you.
No. Of course not.
Hans of Clan Bourgeois.
I am no longer Hans.
Really? Oh,
Nope.
I guess I wasn't in the room at that point.
No, you weren't.
Let's get you a nice job as keeper, Felicia.
No. I'd rather not. And she's still translating, despite the fact that she really doesn't. I just want to have my library rebuilt and protected better this time.
Fair enough, but you still seem to have the right kind of passion, the right kind of mindset for some clerical and administrative work, something that the Camarilla kind of needs at this point. We need people to stand up. We need people to fill the positions traditionally held, in this case, by elders of our sect, but apparently in the New World, elders are few and far between.
At this point, I guess I have to make a subterfuge check because, yeah, Dr. Safley has been in that meeting room and basically told her everything that transpired there, so she knows. She just doesn't want to. So I guess I have to make a subterfuge check to keep my face straight. And fuck, I didn't got my character sheet up. Ah, fuck it, I'll just go with a low dice. So, something like that. Oh wait, I had 4 dice in subterfuge. Yeah. I got 2 successes on that.
Fair enough. I'm not gonna roll it. Wait. Do I have any empathy? I do! Fantastic. Nope. Alright, keep going.
So, I mean, like I said, I need to rebuild my library because someone burned it down. And then it will be done.
Well, you say it will be done, but at one point or another, you may have the barbarians at your gate yet again. And the reason they will be at your gates yet again is because, like I said, we need strong, capable, competent leaders. Did you know that your name was brought up in the follow-up meeting to that war council with the Ventrue?
My name was brought up.
Yes.
I see.
In absentee, you were nominated for the Seneschal position.
Excuse me.
I told you, great potential.
Sorry, what did you say? And she did not translate that because she was like, excuse you? Could you say that again so that I can understand what you're saying and I can repeat it to Mr. Green over here?
Dr. Sophie just smiles at her. He's not saying anything again.
Right. He doesn't want to repeat. I'm terribly sorry. I cannot translate.
Fair enough. But your name was brought up. And when the notion was brought up to appoint you the Seneschal position, I looked over the table, and Mr. Silas was all smiles for that one.
Well, I'm quite sure it's a terrible idea.
I'm quite sure it's an excellent idea.
I
And I'm
disagree.
quite sure that many, many people at that table also thought it was an excellent idea.
I disagree again.
What disqualifies you?
What disqualifies me? Well, shall we start at the top or at the bottom of the list?
You have a list. Go ahead.
First of all, until the passing of Dr. Softly, I was probationary second member. I was a fledgling. I am not qualified to do anything with a title within the Camarilla. Second of all, look at me. That's reason number 2. Third of all, I have no interest in it. Fourth of all, I don't care. I care about my library.
Well, going from the top of the list again, maybe you do not have the appropriate time or seniority under your belt, but compared to all of the other kindred within the city who have only just arrived, you,
Now I
my
have
good
the
ma'am,
opportunity to show that potential.
have a lot more experience. And the fact that you are able to gather so many kindred together in such a short amount of time for one simple purpose shows that you are great at organizing and mobilizing others to your cause. And the fact that you are able to do so, it shows that you are the right choice to lead those clan members.
I can assure you I'm not. I'm
Second.
not.
Second, your appearance means nothing to me. Absolutely nothing.
To be fair, Rose, we've got a Nosferatu prince. Bring appearance into it.
To be fair, Dr. Softly, I know she doesn't translate that because she's actually rather upset at this point. To be fair, Dr. Softly, you know what my bloodline comes from. You know what can happen if Sabbats know about that. It's best if I stay in the shadows, where I want to stay. Emphasis on shadows.
They can't force you to take the position anyway. Just consider it. It might be the only way to placate them for now.
I'm pretty sure that there are many fine young kindred who are willing to put themselves out there.
Find competent young kindred might be a little bit smaller margin.
Well, eager
They're willing.
young kindreds. They can learn competence.
Sadly, that is not always the case. But this is a matter which shall not be resolved in this conversation, Sheriff Green. Perhaps we could move on.
Translating it again.
I still have a few bulletin points. The fact that she made a list for me to go ahead and critique is fantastic. It just, leads on to the third point. You are very, very well organized.
However, Sheriff Green, there's always the point of, at this point, Rose does not want to. Now,
That is definitely a problem, Dr. Softly. He says that he's actually talking into the room more. She doesn't want to. I understand that. She wants to protect her library. I also understand that simply because I have the same kinds of concerns and the same kind of reluctance. I would rather leave the city to its own devices. I would rather take care of my own brood, and I am reluctant to stay within my own position. However, the Camarilla dictates duty and responsibility, and I have taken it upon myself to do so. I have all the reasons not to be in this position, yet I am. This is a new world. Embrace it.
Mr. Green, can I ask you one simple question?
Shoot.
Do you believe in the Camarilla? Do you care for the Camarilla?
Do I believe? Do I care? I think the question you should be asking is, have I ever lost faith in it? Many times. Many times I have looked at the Camarilla, not as an organization, but the kindred that make up such a sect. Sometimes I see it wanting. Sometimes I see it wanting because I see cowardness. Sometimes I see it wanting because I see lunacy, madness, and just plain incompetence. This is why I wish to see a Camarilla full of nice little productive members.
But you still believe in its concepts.
What is the concept of the Camarilla to you?
To me, simply, at that point, it was protection. That was all. I came to the Camarilla because I was otherwise forced to leave the city. I did not want to. I wanted to stay in my library. If that meant sucking up to the Camarilla, so be it. Later on, I started making friends. So I decided that I was going to help. But that also brought risk. The Gangrel protected. The Brugia protected. So that's what it means to me. I don't care particularly for the traditions. I don't care for titles, the elders. Nor do I care for the Sabbat or the conflicts. I care about my library. And you want me to be the second in command of a sect that I only follow because it's more convenient for me. And that's the whole truth.
Still putting you up. Still putting up your name for a nomination. You can refuse it. You can. I'm not saying that you can't. I'm just saying that I'll be disappointed.
Dr. Softly say, don't say it to him, but don't stop him from nominating your name. It could actually stand you in the long run, even if you refuse.
Give me one good personal reason from you, Mr. Green, why I would accept. I don't want to hear anything about Camarilla. I want to hear your reasons. One good one that cannot be countered. Give me a
Good
riddle
one
that
that
I
cannot
can't
be
answer.
countered. Fair enough. One personal reason.
You know you've completely walked into you've set yourself up for a trap, Rose. Don't say that to him, but I know what I'd say.
I'll hear your reasonings later then. Please continue, Mr. Green.
I have two.
Wow.
He's just holding up these two fingers and saying, "I have two."
Go on. Or do you mean that your fingers are the actual reasons? Because, yes, that's indeed a riddle that I can't solve.
I thought you were fantastic with riddles. That's what your bread and butter was.
It is, and don't worry, I'll think about it. But at this point, you are not giving me the answers that I'm looking for. That's what I'm always doing, looking for answers. I'm looking for your answers at this point.
The loyalty of the Gangrels is ironclad, that has been paid with in blood. Blood of my clan. Blood of my clan simply because they became involved with you. Now, I myself don't hold any grudges, don't hold any regrets. I just know for the matter of fact that you have tied yourself to the city so tightly, not to the Camarilla as a sect, but just to the city, and you can't walk away from it. You can't walk away from the kindred that you have interacted with, and the kindred that have already fallen and passed on. You can't leave that. And because you can't leave that, because you can't up stakes, it's not simply just the physical form of the library, it's all the connections that you have made, and all of them being well known, good kindred of the Camarilla. And if you go ahead and let them walk blindly out there, they can make the same kind of mistakes that my 2 reasons did.
I think that I repaid those 2 reasons when my tentacles pulled you out of that room.
You repaid one of them.
Then I think I repaid the other one by looking after your child.
I'm going to count that with the 1.
I see. And that's it? You're asking me to repay this debt by becoming seneschal.
I'm asking you to step up for the city, not for the Camarilla, simply for the city, for the buildings and structures here, for the kindred that sit here and live here.
You know what that
That is
already
what you're
cost
doing.
me? They burned down my library.
He won't understand that, Rose.
That's like burning
I have
down
only an
Elena.
inkling.
That is like burning down Elena. And it wasn't Sabat who did it. It was Camarilla.
Which ones?
As far as I'm pretty sure I saw the person that followed, or that follows, I should say, the Archon. Who, not hours before he did that, wanted to dominate me. To make sure that I would be loyal to the Camarilla, as if I had not been blood bonded for months already to the prince themselves.
Very well. You are currently accusing one of the Archon's assistants in his brief stint into the city of burning down your library. For what reason?
I don't know.
An investigator does always not always have a motive. However, I still find the whole thing questionable. I was not there at the time.
No, I'm sorry, you were at the meeting.
Fine then. I'll do it. I'll go ahead and bring this up. I will go ahead and investigate this for you.
I have already talked to the prince about it because after they made me watch as my library burned, because there were 2 of them, they staked me, loaded me up, and sent me to the prince.
Fair enough. Do you have any more information on what preceded then? Or did the prince keep that information to himself?
I've not yet spoken with Mr. Silas about it. Prince Silas, I should say.
Fair enough. I will make all due diligence to follow up on this.
You please relate to him, as we've previously discussed. There are a few possible things that could add confusion to it. Obfuscate, specifically Mask of a Thousand Faces, Vicissitude, Chemistry, Dominate. Any of those disciplined, if used appropriately, could confuse matters.
Translating.
Fair enough. I have no information to go by quite yet, except for what you've told me, and that's what I'm going to start with.
Fine, let's make it a deal then. You can prove to me that that wasn't Camarilla, and I'll become your seneschal. I'll do as you say. I'll try to lead whatever group wants to follow me, because I'm having serious doubt about that. If I prove to be right, I will retreat to my library. As I should.
Fair enough. You have yourself a deal. The hour grows late. Sunup will be in a few hours, and I do not wish to keep you away from Haven.
Yeah, you're right. Well, it was good to see you're back to business.
Mm-hmm.
Also, I still want to finish my driving lessons.
Fair enough. You still have the bike, right?
I still have the bike.
Do you have your riding suit?
I still have the riding suit.
You really shouldn't bother with such a daft nonsense. But suppose
If you would like, you can drive me tomorrow when I start to do my errands.
Very well.
Or I should say, Leo's assistants now, since he has taken over the place, will see you out.
Very well. We will see each other tomorrow night then.
Mm-hmm.
And with that, Rose will turn around, walk away, obfuscate, put the veil in place, and go back to her haven. Unless Frank wants to do something, I think we can end the scene.
No, Frank is just going to go ahead and watch them walk off in stone cold silence.